hate when men say, wow, that's crazy, because one day I went to work, and when I got to work, everybody was acting all weird and staying towards me, but I just kept working. So then my manager texted me, was like, hey, can you come to my office around 3? And I was like, okay, sure. So when I got down there, HR was in there, and they was like, hey, we're gonna have to let you go. And I was like, why? He was like, man, if you don't get the fuck on. So I went and got the fuck on. I went home, and I was mad because I lost my job. So I called my homegirl. I was like, hey, I need to go out because I lost my job. And she was like, girl, I still got my job, so I don't know. So then I just went out and I went to Caspi's by myself, and so I was in there just drinking because I was upset, but it was low-key kind of turned on a random night. So then this guy came up to me and was like, hey, like, come sit in my section. We got bottles, we got liquor, and all we missing is you. And I was like, okay, that's the bet. So I went over there and I was drinking with him and everything because he was kind of fine and he had money. So I'm like, okay, I'm over here. So he was just like, yeah, so what you up to? And I was like, you know, I'm big boss and knowing damn well I'm unemployed. So then he was just like, oh, what you doing after this? I said, I'm going home with you because you're my man, right? And he was like, oh, I like you. So then I went to his house, and he lived around Arlington at this place called the Ava. So I went over there and I was just like, yeah, what's your name? He was like, Drew. And I was like, okay, well, Drew, you're my man now. So then after that, I'm pretty much just looking around his place because I'm like, yeah, I can move in here. I'm unemployed. So I pretty much stayed with that man for 2 weeks. We was just in there making love, doing everything, because at this point I'm unemployed. What else is there to do? So I'm hanging out with him and everything like that. And he was like, babe, I got to make a play. You've been throwing me off. And I was like, okay, that's a bet. So then when he went to walk out, he was like, hey, my man's is going to come up here. Can you give him this? And I was like, okay, sure. And he was like, hold up, I don't even have your number. I was just like, what? He was like, I don't have your number. So I gave him my number because I was just like, dang, how my man don't have my number? And we've been together for 2 weeks. So I gave him my number and he just texted me, hey. And I was like, you're an idiot. So then when he left, I started going through his stuff, looking everywhere and everything like that. And then I was like, you know what? Since I'm going through his stuff, let me make him dinner because, you know, I'm not trying to get kicked out of my new house. So I started making him dinner, but I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb because I was trying to watch a YouTube video on how to make the meal. And then after that, I took my phone off Do Not Disturb, and I seen I had 18 mixed text messages from him saying, call me. So I called him and I was like, babe, what's wrong? And he was just like, my man's is downstairs. Didn't I tell you like he was coming? And to answer the phone, I was just like, oh, my bad. So I went downstairs and I let his man's up, and his man went into the room and got something and just left. So then after that, his man's came back up and was like, hey, you going to Rosebar tonight? And I was like, Rosebar? What's happening at Rosebar? And he was just like, oh, I don't know. So then I called my man. I was just like, hold on, what's going on at Rosebar? He was just like, oh, nothing. Like, you know, I thought you were going home today. I was like, no, I'm not going home. I'm going with you. So he was like, and I'm like, what? And he was like, no, it's fine. You like, yeah, you can come. He was like, look in my room. There's some money in there. You know, go find yourself something to wear since we out tonight. And I was just like, ooh, I really love this man. So I took all the money and I went out shopping. I got my hair done. I got my nails done. I got my eyelashes done. I was just looking like a star when he came back. And he was like, dang, you look like Nicki Minaj. I said, and do. So then we went out to Rosebar, and when we were at Rosebar, he was parking and he was just like, hey, put my keys in your purse. And I was like, yeah, because you're my man. So as we're walking up and we're trying to get in line to go to the table because we were just going to walk through, I hear somebody keep saying, Drew. So I'm looking around like, who's calling my man? And I see this BBL bandit, and she just keep calling him, and he started guiding me to his friend. He was like, hey, go in the club. You know, I'm going to be in there in a minute. And I was like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to talk to my peoples. I was like, well, then I'm going to talk to the peoples too. So he was like, man, just go in the club. And I was like, okay. So I turned around like I was going to the club, and he started walking over to the BBL bandit. So I turned around too, and I went over there. So I just seen them, and he was just like, hey, didn't I tell you to go in the club? I was like, no, who is this? And she was just looking at me, and she was like, who is her? And I was just like, yeah, who is you? So she was just like, oh, I don't know what's going on, Drew. Who is this bitch? And I was just like, bitch, don't step to me like that. And she was just like I said, who is this bitch? Because you ain't got nothing on me. I'm like, chill out, lumpy space princess. Ain't nobody even stunting on you because you have the worst BBL in the whole world. So me and her are just going back and forth, and he's like, yo, didn't I tell you to go in the club? I said, oh, so this your girl? And she was like, hold on, is this why you haven't been calling me for 3 weeks? I was just like, what? Did I just lose my play? I just lost my nigga to a BBL botch bandit. So I was just like, you know what? That's how you gonna act. And I started walking, and I'm thinking he's gonna follow me. So as I'm walking down from Rosebar, I turn around. This man is nowhere behind me. So I was like, damn, she done stole my nigga. So I just started walking. I was so mad, talking to myself, yelling at myself because I was just so pissed. I'm walking so much, I realized I'm at the motherfucking North Farragut West Metro Station. So then a homeless man must have thought I was with him. So he came up to me just talking and rambling too. So we're just talking it up, and he was like, hey, let's go get some cigarettes. And I was like, okay, that's a bet. He was like, hey, do you have any money you can spare $1? So I look at my purse, and I realized I got this man's keys, and I was like, hey, I gotta go. I gave this homeless man the money, and I started running uphill back to Rosebar looking for this man's car, and it was still there. So when I went over there, I started ordering my Uber, and then I started scratching this man's car, just scratching it up, and then I ran in front of the Chick-fil-A, and I threw his keys in the sewer, and then I hopped in the Uber. So then I'm just on live on Instagram because I'm so mad I gotta tell the world. So then my coworkers were like, hey, are you coming out? I was like, why am I coming out? They were like, Arena Tyler's son is having a little party. They're having a birthday party for him at Assets. Aren't you coming? And I was just like, oh yeah, I do need an alibi that I didn't scratch this man's car up, allegedly. So then I went ahead and I went home and I got dressed to go to the Assets. And then when I got up in Assets, we were just partying it up. So I just kept filming it because I was just like, yeah, let me post this on my story just in case he checked. So then I'm posting on my story and everything like that. So then after that, I seen this guy named Corey, and he was just like, yeah, you're fine. Like, and so I started taking videos with him to make my man jealous. So then after that, I get Corey number, and then after I left the club, so then Corey started hitting me up, and he was just like, hey, I'm trying to go wherever you're going. And at this point, I'm unemployed. So I was like, you know what, 2 for 1, I need a new man. So then me and Corey came over, and then we started doing it and everything like that. So then my man Drew was just just hit me up. He's just like, yo, where's my keys? Where are you? And I'm just not answering it because I'm doing it with Corey now. And so then at this point, I'm like, hey, record it. I want to be on camera. So then after that, me and Corey just recorded it and we're just going up. So then after that, I sent it to Drew because I want him to know that I can get a new nigga in 2 days. So then after that, he was just like, yo, I'm headed to your house. I'm about to slap the shit out of you. So I'm like, oh, not domestic violence. So then after that, he headed to my house. I start calling the police. But you know how DC police is. They take forever to get to your house. So then he's already downstairs and he's yelling. He's like, yo, come open this door or I'm going to punch you in your face. Come open this door. I'm going to punch you in your face. So then I come downstairs and I'm all shy and I'm like, baby, like, what's wrong, daddy? Am I your baby? And he was like, hey, don't play with me, all that shit. Like, what's going on? But then the police pulled up. So then when they pulled up, I was just like acting and I was just started crying. Like, I didn't know him. And I was like, get this man away from me. Like, he just keeps screaming outside my apartment. And they were like, what? I said, I don't even know him. And he was like, yo, get out of here. Like, she knows me. I was like, I really don't know him. So then I pulled up my phone and I was just like, see, this is his number. And I just showed him texting me 18 times saying, call me. And they were like, yeah, this is kind of weird. I was like, yeah, I don't know him. I want him to leave me alone. And he just turned around. He was like, really? Wow, that's crazy. And that's why I don't like men that say that.
Story time on how when I was a kid I got an attachment and I think it's back. Okay, so backstory where I lived. It was not like an old house. It wasn't like old land or anything that could have had anything spiritual. I literally lived on a council estate. And like every council estate, people tend to be friends with everyone. So, me and my sister were friends with the little girl who lived across the road, and my mum was friends with her mum. So, me, my mum and my sister all went round one night, but the little girl wasn't there. She was at her dad's, okay? The only one of her children that were in the house at the time was the baby, and it was that small of a baby that it was still sleeping in a cot. So the only people that lived at her house that were there were the mum herself and the baby, and then me, my mum and my sister. We were the only people in that house. This mum comes out with saying that her house is haunted. She 100% thinks her house is haunted and that something's here. So we download a ghost app. I'm going to give you the layout of the house first. So there's a door here, front door. So when you walk in, stairs are there. The first kid's bedroom that we're friends with is right there. Baby's bedroom, and then the mother's bedroom is on the side. Next to that bedroom is literally just a railing. That is the whole of the upstairs. The bathroom was downstairs, so there's nothing else up there. As you walk up them stairs, you can see the whole of upstairs. There is nothing covered. Nobody could have got past there. So we download this ghost app, and it shows a little red dot, and you're supposed to follow the red dot, and it's supposed to be the ghost, right? So we start following it. So us kids are going first, right? And we can see the phone screen because my mum's holding it in front of her and then the other mum is walking behind us, right? This ghost walks up towards the front door, walks up the stairs, goes past that first bedroom and straight into the baby's bedroom. I'm getting shivers thinking about this. When me and my sister walked into that bedroom, we saw some weird ass fucked up creature hunched over this baby. It literally like snapped its neck, looked at us, and me and my sister started screaming and crying at the same time without even talking to each other. Oh, I'm getting hot sweats. That was the last time I ever went to that house. I have not been to that house ever since, right? Obviously we weren't believed. Were we believed? No. Okay, why the fuck would you believe two kids? You always should though, because children can see shit. Anyway, so fast forward, they moved out. I've not seen or heard of them since, okay? That house is still obviously across the road. I've not been to that house since. I've got older, okay? I'm now in high school. And one night, I'm sleeping on my top bunk. My sister's bed is below me and hers is a double bed, mine was a single. And from my view of my top bunk, I could see through the crack of my curtains and it shows that house. I kid you not, I saw a woman in what looked like a wedding fucking dress, like a nowadays wedding dress, stood outside and she was facing the front door of their house. I was like, has she been like bailed on? What's going on? So I roll over, I'm trying to go to sleep, right? I cannot sleep. There is something that is taking my attention to that window. I look to see her on the edge of the path, now facing my window, right? Facing my fucking window. I'm thinking, what the fuck? Okay, for the life of me, I can't make out this girl's face. I could not make out her face. I start crying my eyes out, and I'm in high school. I start crying my eyes out, begging for my mum to come in and shut them curtains, because I was not getting down that bunk bed. Someone would have snatched me down them ladders, right? So my mum comes in and I say, Mum, there's someone out there, please look, there's a girl on the road and she's staring through the window. And my mum looks out and goes, Ellie, there's nothing there. There is absolutely nothing there. I'm like, please just shut the curtains, please shut the curtains. Even my sister's got up at this point and she's looking out the window going, there's nothing there. I'm trying to convince everyone everyone that there is, or at least convince myself that there's not, but I know what I fucking saw. And yes, I was fucking right. So for the next couple of days, all I see is this woman, and she just keeps getting closer and closer to my house. Each time I look out of the window at night, she's closer to my house, and it's scaring the shit out of me because she's never looking anywhere other than through my window, okay? And I'm like, what the fuck? I randomly just don't see her. Don't see her. I've not seen anything until one night me and my mum had an argument and she took my light bulb because I was scared of the dark as a punishment. So I slept on the landing. I refused to go into that bedroom, and then at 4 a.m. was when I woke up after landing because it was cold, right? And I crawled into my bedroom. Never in my life could I have expected what I fucking saw. I saw my sister's head laying on the floor, positioned to be staring at me. I looked up to the wardrobe that was right next to that window that I used to see that fucking bitch positioned like that on my fucking wardrobe. Bitch, no. Bitch, go home. I don't know who stood you up, ho, but it wasn't me. I fucking screamed. I screamed, right? I got my mum to come in, I got her to put the light bulb in, and we looked everywhere. At first I thought the head that I saw could have been this extension box thing. It's like a big box with a wire, so it's like it's an extension plug, right? It wasn't. That was on the bed. There was nothing in the way that could have been my sister's head. And my sister was downstairs sleeping because she didn't sleep in our room anymore. Fuck knows why, she just didn't sleep in our room, okay? There was nothing on the top of that wardrobe. Not one thing was on the top of that wardrobe. And what I saw was clear as fuck. Triple vision, bitch. I've not seen or heard that bitch since that point, okay? Until I moved in here with my boyfriend, which is why I think it's attached to me. Okay, so I've moved in, right? All going swimmingly, all going fine, nothing. Until one night I can hear people opening the drawer with all like the spoons, forks, everything. And I can hear people jingling in it. I'm like, what the fuck? I wake up, my teaspoons are gone. The reason why I say this isn't me is because I only eat off teaspoons. If I have to use a spoon for anything, I will always use a teaspoon. And I woke up every day to them missing nowhere. Noises started to get louder and they were more interacting with everything around us. So one night, I'm in my bedroom, it's like 6 a.m, I've not slept, my boyfriend is peacefully asleep next to me, right? I hear the front door slam shut like it was wide open, and I'm thinking, what the fuck? I then hear big heavy boots, like work boots, walking into the house, and I'm like, what the fuck? Now my boyfriend's family and himself all wear work boots when they go to work, but it's a weekend. It's 6 a.m, it's a weekend, they don't work on weekends. But I'm thinking, okay, it's 6 a.m, one of them's come in, they need Billy. Okay, what's going on? I open the front door, I shout outside, hello? I say their names, obviously. No one is there. I search the whole place. Nobody is here. There's no one here. So I just go to sleep, because I was severely depressed, so I was sleeping at like 6 a.m, sleeping all day and up all night. Now that's when it got worse, because throughout the night, there'd be something darker than the darkness itself, watching me, in a corner, it's just watching me. And I'm like, what the fuck? It gradually got closer from the hallway to my bedroom, and I was like, oh hell no, hell to the no. I genuinely started sleeping with my Bible next to me, holding my cross necklace, this right here, sleeping, holding this, with my Bible next to me. Girl, I was shitting it. This is the last time I saw it, and it is the scariest thing of all, scariest of all things that I could have possibly thought to see, okay? So, my boyfriend's gone out, he's gone to get some drinks, I'm here alone, right? I'm cleaning up because we're planning on having a party. I'm cleaning up this room right here. There is a mirror right there that came from their old house that was haunted by a girl who had long black hair and wore a white dress, like the woman I saw. So, I'm thinking, what the fuck? Anyway, I didn't know that until after I told his family about this. So, I'm cleaning, and as I'm leaving to go through the door to enter the kitchen, I see through the mirror some man, full old man, sat up, straight as fuck like this, but looking the other way, right? I was like, hell no. I stopped in my tracks, looked everywhere for anything that could possibly be that. There was nothing in that way that could have possibly created a whole silhouette, a face, features, everything. As I'm cleaning through it again, I see it again. I'm like, what the fuck? And then every night from that point, every time I walked past mirrors, I could see this like mist, this like shadow following behind me, and it's never my shadow because of the betray of the lights. My shadow's in front of me. So I'm like, what the fuck? I've recently fixed my sleeping pattern, and since then I've not seen or heard anything, okay? Nothing, right? Until a couple nights ago. My boyfriend's window is open. Okay, he's asleep. I kid you not, it's like 1 in the morning and I hear this old man laugh, like belly laugh, through the fucking window. Like someone has just told him the funniest thing he's ever heard in his whole entire life. And that is the last I've heard, seen, or even thought of that shit, okay? I don't know what to do. I do believe that it could be something to do with the mirror. It could be something to do with the fucking house that I grew up in, that woman, their haunted house. I do not know what to do.
I just yelled at somebody on the street, and I need to make this video because that behavior is not okay. I have never, ever yelled at anybody on the street like that before, but what this person was doing was seriously absolutely disgusting. So I'm in Manly right now, and I was out, I don't even know what I was doing. I think I was getting band-aids for my blisters, and I was sitting on this bench, right, in like the main strip of Manly, and I was putting the blisters on my foot. And behind me, I didn't really clock it at first, but behind me there were these 2 girls, and this man was talking to these girls, right? And I guess subconsciously I thought that this man might have been like their grandfather or their old uncle, like he was old, right? And the minute I heard one of the girls say, "Oh, I just turned 16, I swung myself around so quickly, because you don't just say that to someone who you know. You don't say that to a friend. You don't say that to a relative or anything, because they're obviously going to know that you just turned 16. So alarm bells were going off in my head of like, this girl is clearly underage. She's 16. You know, she's with her friend. What is going on? So I turned around. And I wasn't really minding my own business at this point. I was just staring straight at this conversation. It was maybe like a meter or 2 away from me. I was staring and just watching this conversation unfold. And I could tell by the body language of the girls, like they didn't really want to engage in the conversation. They were just sort of, you know, politely laughing it off, laughing things like, oh yeah, you know, as you do. Like that's what you do when you're uncomfortable in a situation, especially when you're young, okay? And I need to calm down. I'm so angry. This man, I didn't think to record in this moment, and I wish that I did, but my immediate thought was like the safety of these girls. So this man touches like this, like with his, my nails have come off, but like touches like this, one of the girls' faces. That's it for me. Sorry, I've just needed to calm down. So he touches her on the face, and that's when that's me. 0 to 100. I'm like, do not touch her on the face. What are you doing? Do not touch her on the face. And I'm, again, probably a couple meters away, and he looks at me and he's like, huh? And this man, like, he's old, right? He does not need to be talking to 2 16-year-old girls. And the way he was talking, yes, it wasn't suggestive. It wasn't rude, in my opinion. It was friendly. But, like, why do you need to be friendly to 2 16-year-old girls? You're going on 65 or something, like, find somebody your own age to talk to. After that, he started having a go at me, being like, oh, you're just, and he wouldn't finish the sentence. And I was like, I'm just what? And he's like, oh, you're just being rude. And I'm like, rude? You're the one that's being rude. You're talking to these girls who are underage. I was speaking very loudly. I was basically yelling at this man. I was like, you're speaking to 2 girls that are underage and you're touching them on the face without asking. And I purposely said it so loud that the people around us would start noticing and start looking. And they did. At this point, alarm bells went off in my head, and I'm just like, wait, am I just attacking this man that these girls already know? And I say to the girls, I'm like, do you know this person? And she was like, oh, no. And I was like, do you want to be talking to him? And she couldn't really answer. And like, I probably wouldn't say no either when I was 16. Like, I wouldn't really know what to do. So I took the sort of silence as a no, I don't want to be talking to him. And I just kept going. I was like, what are you doing? Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Kept going at me saying, you're just this, mind your own business. I'm like, no, I will not mind my own business. You're not going to sit there and talk to 2 girls underage in front of me and have me actually just be a bystander. And, you know, like, what's going to happen when those girls get up and walk away? Are you going to follow them? I didn't say this, but like, is he going to follow them? Is this what he does? Like, he just goes around talking to young girls? Like, leave them alone. The minute that she said she just turned 16 should have been enough for him to go, oh, okay, have a good night. No matter what his intentions were, there is no reason for a grown man to be talking to anybody under the age of 18. And even then, it's still icky. Now, this next part is very annoying now that I think back to it, but there was this other guy that came over, and I can't remember if he had like a shopping trolley or a pram or something, and he came over and he said to the guy, like, move on, leave them alone, move on. And he was like, no, she just needs to mind her business, da, 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 da. And I think this other guy said, like, move on, otherwise something's going to get involved, or like, otherwise it's going to get escalated or something like that. And I don't know whether the guy was on my side or whether he was like helping the guy to I don't really know. I don't know what happened with this second guy. Like, yes, he was asking them to move on, and maybe he was just trying to like side with the guy to get him to move on, but it annoys me that it took a man for the guy to listen and to leave. But that's a story for another time. So I was angry at this point. I was red, I was flushed, I was shaking. He starts to walk away. I finish putting the Band-Aid on my foot, and I say to the girls, I'm just like, I'm so sorry. Like, are you okay? And they're like, yeah, thank you for that. Thank you. And I'm like, I don't know whether you wanted to talk to him, but like, that is not okay for people to just touch you guys without asking or even talk to you. Like, you're underage. Like, the minute I heard you say you were 16, whipped around. That was enough. And, then there was this other girl, I think she was a mum, because I think she's the one that had the pram, and she was like, are you girls okay? She walked past, and I don't want people to think that I was yelling at the girls. I feel like everybody knew I was yelling at this man. And yeah, so that was that. And then I said, like, oh, have a good night or something. Like what you're supposed to when you're an adult talking to 16-year-olds. And then I was walking down the strip towards the Manly Wharf where like the ferries are, and I could still see the guy walking. He was probably like 30 meters, 40 meters in front of me. And that's when I realized, I'm like, oh, I should have gotten my phone out to like even just film myself so you could hear what he was saying. But I didn't. So then I whipped my camera out and I took a little video of him from behind. So I'm going to insert that at some point so you can see who I'm talking about. It's the one with like the jacket on. And yeah, he was sort of walking, not very quickly, but he was sort of walking directly for the ferry. So hopefully he got out of here. But, oh, I just needed to get it out. I needed to just tell you guys about it because it really shook me. And it just like, it almost made me upset because I know that when I was 16, I didn't feel confident enough to stand up for myself in a situation like that. And when you are in a situation, like when you feel vulnerable with somebody who's a lot more, like a lot older than you or some sort of like authority figure over you, and you feel vulnerable about it, you're gonna go into like protect yourself mode. So you're gonna agree with them, you're gonna giggle, you're gonna laugh, you're just gonna make nice until they leave. But I had enough. Maybe some of you guys don't agree that I interjected, but I don't care. I am so glad that I did because I would hate for that man to have continued touching their faces or their shoulder or anything, and they felt trapped. Like, I would hate for them to feel that way. So I don't know, if the two girls are watching this, I hope you're all right, and I hope it's okay that I actually went off on the guy. I can't remember everything that I said. I can't remember everything that he said because I was filled with absolute rage.
I'm gonna do a story time of how me and my best friend fell out and her best friend became my best friend, and how we almost got arrested because of her. Okay, so it was beginning of sophomore year, and I had known this girl because her mom was friends with my mom, and whenever I had first moved to this city, my mom was like, oh my gosh, like, you need to become friends with this girl, like, I'm friends with her mom, like, y'all would get along. And I was like, okay. Also, don't mind the Sterniolo triplets on my TV. Freshman year, we didn't have any classes together, so we didn't become friends. So sophomore year, we did have a class together, and I ended up sitting at her table. You know, we ended up becoming friends. Cool. And we're gonna name her Sally. So me and Sally became really close. Like, we would text, we would FaceTime, we would eat lunch together. Like, we became really close. So I was like, cool. And she would always tell me, she'd be like, Kinsley, oh my gosh, you have to meet my best friend Emma. Like, you have to meet my best friend Emma. Emma's not a real name, but I'm using it for an example. And I was like, okay, like, I like you, like, you're my friend, like, I would love to meet your best friend, like, I have no issue with that, like, why wouldn't I want to meet your best friend? Duh. I'm a girl's girl, like, I want to be around all these girls, like, yes. So I ended up meeting her, and we ended up, you know, hitting it off. Like, I really enjoyed having her around. Like, she ended up coming to my house a couple times with Sally, so, like, I was like, okay, like, we're vibing. So then there was this one weekend. So there was one weekend where we had a group chat with me, Sally, Emma, the best friend, and my best friend. And that was because, like, we had all grouped together, we had met, it was cool, we were all good. So, Emma had texted the group chat and was like, hey, like, we should have a sleepover this weekend. And I was like, dude, I'm down. Like, I just cleaned my whole house, like, perfect timing. Like, y'all can come to my house. So everybody in the group chat had agreed except my friend. And she said, oh, I can't go because I'm going to my girlfriend's house tonight, but I might be able to stop by. And this was Sally who said that. So we were like, okay. So I ended up texting privately her best friend and my best friend, and I was like, hey, y'all can still come over if y'all would like. I would love to hang out with you guys, and I feel like it would be cool for us to hang out too. Like, we don't have to hang out with Sally all the time. So Emma had pulled up to my house at like 8:30, and then we went to go pick up my best friend. And as we're driving to my best friend's house, I go on Instagram and I go to the DMs and I look at the notes, and tell me why Sally puts on her note, y'all are acting like I didn't make y'all. Whew. So we're like, oh, okay, obviously that's about us. Like, obviously that's about us. And mind you, Emma was at my house one time and it was just me and her for like 15 minutes because Sally had to go do something. But she was at my house and she showed me screenshots of proof of my friend talking shit about me, and it was basically saying, well, why is she acting like she's known you for so long, da 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 da. And it was simply because I made a TikTok post and I added Emma into it. But anyway, fast forward, so we're like, okay, that's weird, but we're not gonna say anything, like, we're not gonna let it ruin our night. Like, we were gonna do nails, like, we were gonna order pizza, we were gonna play board games, like, we were good. So we get home and we end up, you know, playing games, you know, we're chilling, talking, doing nails, whatever, because my friend is a nail tech. So we ended up pulling an all-nighter that night because the nails took a long time, and, you know, we're having a sleepover, it was whatever. And then the next morning we were planning on, you know, since we were already up, we were gonna go, you know, get like Starbucks and then go to shops like Target and TJ Maxx and stuff like that. You know, the basic girl thing. So it's like 7 a.m. and Sally apparently had woken up early that morning, I don't know, but we were all up, and I go to Instagram again and there's a new note and it was saying, I know they talked shit. And I was like, okay, wrap it up. We already know who this is about. So we were like, Emma had texted her on Instagram and was like, hey, what is this about? And then she had made up this whole lie and was like, oh, it wasn't about y'all, it was about a whole different group of friends, like, we're good. And we were like, okay. And so we ended up forgetting about it, whatever, until it was like 10:30 in the morning, I think, and we were out shopping, and I get a FaceTime call, and it's Sally. Sally, why are you calling my phone? She calls me and I answer, and I'm looking at my friends and I'm like, why is she calling me? So I pick it up and she's like, hey, is it okay if I come to your house and get ready for my girlfriend's event tonight? And I was like, I'm gonna have to ask, like, I don't know. And then I got off the phone with her. We ended up going home, whatever. We had stayed up that whole night. I was exhausted. I had cried. Like, I was just going through so much, and I was just like, bro, I'm not dealing with this. And I ended up taking like a 5-hour nap, woke up at 6. And after we had gotten home from shopping, I had texted her and I was like, who were those notes about? Like, before we make any plans. And she was like, I already told Emma that it wasn't about y'all, that I don't know why y'all would think that. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, it's so obvious. And then she was like, no, and that's crazy. The fact that y'all would actually think that that was about y'all shows exactly how y'all think about me as a friend, and I low-key don't appreciate that. I'll just get ready at my own house tonight. And I was like, thumbs up. So whatever, fast forward, we all went to sleep, woke up. So I have a friend, and we have mutual friends. So that friend had called me on FaceTime, and she was like, hey, Kinsley, like, Sally just texted me and said she has tea, and she's gonna FaceTime me, and I'm gonna record it so that you can hear what she says. And I was like, so she records it, and it's basically her on the phone. Sally was admitting to the fact that the notes were indeed about us, and she had just lied to me and
Sally and my friend and put it on her dead grandpa that it was a lie and the notes were not about us. On her dead grandpa. What did Papa do? So I was like, okay. Sally and Emma had gone on a group call or had gone on FaceTime, and Sally basically just told Emma, like, oh my gosh, like, this was a big misunderstanding, I'm so sorry, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And at the time, Emma didn't know what Sally had just admitted on the other FaceTime call that I had proof of. So we ended up getting in a group call. I said, you're lying. Like, I'm just like, she gets on the phone with me then. Eventually, she gets on the phone with me, and we're all in a group call, and I just look at her, I'm like, she's like, oh, this is all some big misunderstanding, Kinsley, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, that's not what you told so-and-so, though. She went quiet. Whole FaceTime call. Zip.